חיים, יש פריקסה,
Okay, so Kal Kadosh, first of all, Potchim Bichvod Achsanya. Now we're going to start the shiur tonight. First of all, we actually thank the Saban family for hosting, and that they should always have a lot of simachot in this house. Especially it's a Seudat Mitzvah, right, of the Siyum Masechet, a lot of more Masechtot, Bezrat Hashem. Bezrat Hashem. Okay. Last time we spoke about the entire concept of partnership, and I wanted to ask you a question, because this is actually something very interesting. Last time we only mentioned a few different parts where women are more partners than men. We spoke about communication. So we spoke about speaking. We said that there was 10 kabim that came down to the world, 10 measures of speech, right? The women took 9, right? The men took 1, right? And the Ben Ish Chai actually says it's actually 9.5 and a half, but okay, fine, right? Because it was actually 9 that came down, and it says the women took 9 and 1 for the rest of the world. So the rest of the world includes women as well. So women took 9.5 and the woman took a half. But we actually explained that last time, according to, I think it was the Maharal Prague, that it actually was a praise for the women and not negative. Because if you remember, we said that the pshat of sicha is lasuach basadeh tefillah. And therefore women took 9 measures of tefillah and men 1. But that's why women don't have obligation to actually come and to say tefillah, because automatically they pray to Hashem even without that. But if a man, you wouldn't obligate him to come and to do tefillah, he would never pray. And that was actually a praise. It's not something negative. But to do with our shiur, the concept though is that the women needed speech in order to become a partner, in order to come and to communicate. So they come and they start speaking to you, and they tell you things which you don't really understand. Why? What does it happen? I'm going to ask you tonight a very interesting question. Do you think there's something that men are more apt for marriage and partnership? That men are more fitting for marriage. That means men are more partners than women in only one aspect.
No.
Tell them what it is.
Yes. What is it? Chazak Baruch. She hit it on the head. Parnasa. Women in this aspect,
women mind and men mind.
Right? Women in this aspect, they go crazy. Why? They think that their husbands are control freaks. Right? What does that mean? They get a text from the husband, right? All of a sudden, the husband, what did you spend? I see that you spent on this place, this thing. How do you spend so much money on clothing? How do you spend so much money on this? How do you spend so much money on this? Why do you need it? Why don't you need it? Now, the truth is, though, that a woman thinks, why is my husband like this? It doesn't make sense. But the truth is, this is the only aspect that since the man is the one that's providing the sustenance to the house, in this he's much more of a partner than the woman. The woman, she couldn't care less. She just go and charge it, right? Shalom, just buy it, right? You just do everything. Here is the only one when the husband is coming and telling the wife, 1 second, but why do you need it? You just bought a pair of shoes yesterday, and you just bought this the other day, and but you already had the other one from the last bar mitzvah. You think somebody remembered? She said, of course, we just saw the pictures yesterday. No, but nobody's going to remember what you wore to the bar mitzvah of the nephew and of this, of that. So what are you doing? The answer is this is the only one which men are actually more partners than women. But in many other ones, it's the exact opposite. Why? I'm going to show you another one. There's a fight. Right? We're going to call it an argument in order that we don't actually call it a fight. There's an argument between the husband and a wife. What usually happens? What does the husband do and what does the wife do? What usually happens? There's an argument. So what happens?
The husband loses and the wife wins.
No, that's always. Forget about that. But what do you usually do? What is the outcome? What happens? The husband keeps his mouth shut. He wants space. He wants nothing to do with it. He'll go to sleep. She goes, I don't understand. How can you go to sleep? We're still in an argument. We have to speak. What's going on? What's going on? It's actually brought down, men's health, they actually bring it down, and also psychology, but this is the same thing. When upset, women are more likely to express their feelings directly and to seek the support of their friends and their family. Whereas men, they hide their emotions and withdraw. So men often feel that they need to be self-reliant to provide for their loved ones, and it's not appropriate to express their emotions. Which means by men, again, this is a negative, they're not partners. By a woman, if something's bothering you, you're going to actually go to sleep without even speaking about it. Speak right now. The man just says, give me some time. I need some time. Let me go away. I'm going to walk. I'm going to do it. Come back. You completely forgot something happened. Right? And nothing happened. What are you talking about? What, there was an argument? I don't remember. What was it about? Right? And she'll tell you that not this argument. She'll tell you this one or the one and continue going for the beginning of the marriage. Right? But that's just the way it is. But again, the difference between a husband and a wife is in their DNA. And their DNA is how are they going to come towards a situation when there's going to be an argument. Another interesting one where we do see is something hilarious. Right? A man comes home and his wife just bought a picture. So imagine right now you have here, she buys the picture and the picture is there on the floor and she comes and she asks her husband, by the way, right, look at this picture, look how nice it is. And he's okay, very, very nice. Chazak Baruch. And all of a sudden she asks him, so no, where do you think I should put it up? Where do I think I should put up the picture? So now the majority of the men are, what are they going to answer? Wherever you want, right? We're going to learn Rav Chaim, we're going to learn Rav Chaim Freelander on that in 1 minute. Give me 1 minute just on that point, wherever you want. Listen very carefully. So the majority of men, some of them will say wherever you want, but let's see even if he's a good husband. And he's going to say, you know what? I think on that wall. Yeah? Now what happens? She comes and she says, no, where do you want? So she comes and she says, on this wall. So he looks at her, she's crazy, and he's saying, I don't understand. Right? You came, you asked me my opinion, and now you come and you tell me the exact opposite of what I said. So what do you ask?
Just to be sure.
Yeah? What?
It's something normal?
Normal. 100% normal. 100% normal. It's not that you want to be sure.
No, she's
Listen,
right.
it's
Want
not
to
you
be
want to
sure
be
she
sure.
makes the opposite of what he wants. She wants to make sure.
Listen carefully. This is the concept of shutafut, partnership, which means like this. If a man made a decision, there's no way he's going to ask his wife. He already decided. Why in the world am I going to ask my wife if I already decided? You made a decision, that's it. Right? They always say, Einstein, I think I met him, mentioned this last time. He went and he said, right, I've got the best. They asked him, do you have any etzot? Do you have any advice for Shalom Bayit? He says, yes, of course. He says, anything which is easy to decide, I decided. Anything which is very difficult, I let her decide. He says, okay, so does it work? He says, of course. I've never found anything so difficult to decide. So I decide everything, that's it. That's the best Shalom Bayit. But once a man will never ask, if he made a decision, kamarnu, the woman thinks to herself, I don't understand you. Are we partners or are we not partners? A partner, even if I make a decision, whether it's in a company or whether it's anything, you're not going to ask your partner? Of course you can ask him. Even if you already made the decision. So then why is she asking? But she feels a partnership. You're right, she has her mind. Now the truth is though, men have to learn how the women work. So first of all, if they're already going to ask you, you for sure have to give your opinion, 100%. But you have to learn the body language. What does that mean? They didn't realize that when he came into the house, the picture was already on that wall, on the bottom, waiting on the floor. Besides being that, when she's coming and she's telling him, by the way, right, where do you think it should go? She's actually looking at the wall where she wants it. So therefore, if he would just actually pay a little bit of attention to what's going on, he would actually read and say, 1 second. It's like reading her mind. You understand? It might be a little bit dangerous, right? But you're reading her mind. She's actually looking at the wall. So just pay a little bit of attention. The men, they're half, okay, yeah, you just came outside. You think he really cares? Yeah, we'll put it over there. No. Look, pay attention to where she's looking. Because that's exactly what she's actually going to do it. Now, why is this so important also? You actually see it to do with partnership, by the way. I saw it actually last class. I was going to mention it, but I didn't want everyone to be laughing because if not, they're going to pay attention the entire time. Do you realize when you give a shiur, men, many times, are very stoic. They don't actually show their emotions, right? They just come, okay, fine, chazak baruch. Afterwards, they might tell you, not tell you, it doesn't matter, right? Women, the majority of the times, if they agree, what happens? You see all of them going like this, right? So you come and you see, looking at the entire shiur, and you say, okay, she agrees, this one maybe, and the other one for sure not, right? But you could tell right on the face. Why? Women are partners. And as partners, they want to actually associate, they want to be with you full 100%. The men, they're not partners. And therefore, that's what we said, that in a marriage, women are much more, we're going to say, fitting for a marriage than men. But now I'm going to take the shiur to a completely different angle. Right? And it says like this. We know that it is very, very important, and we did mention this at the end, that the glue of what it is a marriage is that when you get married, there's a necessity. And the necessity is the most connecting anchor that a person has, which means a necessity, when you need something, it connects. We need things from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He didn't give us a parnasah in one day, right? He gave it to us every single day. Why? We need him. When we need him, we connect to him, right? If we don't need him, you're like the Nachash. The Nachash, he gets the parnasah every single day, dust of the earth. He doesn't need anybody, so he doesn't connect to anybody. When we come and when we actually get married, we're actually looking for someone which is compatible that they could fulfill our needs. And that's exactly what we try to do. We try to take someone that in our mind, this is a perfect fit. Why? This is exactly what I need. They could come and they could fulfill everything that I'm missing. I'm missing A, B, C, D. I need someone to fulfill that. And that's exactly what's happening. Okay. It's not a weakness, because just like eating, drinking, or anything else, it's not a weakness that you need something, but it's actually what we need. The human being was made with certain needs. Listen to this Netziv. The Netziv says in the Hemek Davar, we know there's a famous machloket between Rashi and the Ramban. Rashi says, Al ken yazov ish et aviv et imo v'davak bishto, which means that a man's going to leave his parents and he's going to cling to his wife. Vayu lebasar echad, they're going to become one flesh. Rashi says, how do you become one flesh, husband and wife? Through children. Says the Ramban, I don't understand. The only way you connect to your wife is with children? Animals also do that. Animals have children. So that's it. That's all that we have. That means if you're going to ask somebody, why are you married? This is a question that we asked last time. We asked, why are you married? You're going to say, children. That's the only answer. Obviously, that's not the answer. So therefore, what exactly is going on? Says the Netziv and Hemek Davar, he comes and he says, obviously, it was for the continuation of the generations, obviously, Pruvu, right, to procreate, 100%. But he comes and he says, it's also with the mutual help that each of them requires. Which means the purpose of marriage, to become one, is that the husband needs something from the wife, and the wife needs things from the husbands, and they complete each other. And therefore, the biggest glue, and that's what we mentioned last time, was that when we're talking about the connection, right, the strongest glue that connects two spouses together is you fulfill that which the other one is lacking. And that's why we have to learn, what does the other one need in order for me to fulfill it? And if I'm not actually fulfilling that, I'm missing the boat. I'm missing everything. And this is actually something very, very interesting, because it's based upon the Midrash Rabbi, where the Midrash says, Poteach et yedecha u'maspeh lecho chai ratzon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives to every single living being that which they need. And just like the Gemara in Ketubot says that a person should always be me'urav im habriot, which means connected with everybody, Rashi there says to do each person as he wishes. What does that mean, as he wishes? Every single person is different. And therefore, we have to actually understand that. Aaron HaKohen, he was the best at Shalom Bayit. Do you know something interesting? It actually says that what he would tell the husband was the exact opposite of what he would tell the wife. Why? They're two different beings. And therefore, we're not speaking the same language. So what happens is that we have to learn what exactly is each person's, we're going to say, needs. And once we learn the needs of the other one, it's very easy for us to fulfill it. And therefore, it actually changes a lot of the dynamics in the marriage. Because if they're not fulfilling our needs, we ask ourselves, so why are we married? If they cannot fulfill our basic needs, what do we need that? You could do it for whatever you need. And this, in essence, was actually Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, that he went and he said, right, that he says like this. He said, one student came and he said, I don't understand you. He said, I'm giving through a lot of different things, right? But she's never happy. So he went and he told him like this. He says, you're probably giving him something, you're probably giving her things that you want to give, but not that what she wants to receive. And therefore, if you only start focusing on her, it's completely different. Now, where is this actually brought down? This is actually, I mentioned this in the Bet HaKnesset many, many times. In Parashat, the Sforno actually says this, on Eselo Ezer Kenegdo. The Sforno says that it's like a scale. When you come and you have a scale, you put something on the scale, you have one person opposite, right? They're going to be leveled on the same thing. But he comes and he says, but there are two different things that you're measuring. You have one on the left and one on the right, the scale, when they're going to be. When it says Ezer Kenegdo, he comes and it says they have to be different. Why do they have to be different? If Hashem created everybody the same, so then there would be no purpose in this world. We were purposely created different in order that each one could complete the other one. And that's why Rashi comes on Parashat Kitisa, and he says something very in Parashat Mishpatim. He comes and he says something very interesting. You have a mitzvah to lend money to a poor person. Says Rashi, you have to look at yourself as if you're poor. What does that mean? You have to look at yourself as if you're poor. Says Rashi, if you want to do good to the poor person, you have to put yourself in his shoes. And therefore, the rabbis come and they say, all the more so, when you want to come and you want to know what your wife needs, you have to put yourself in her shoes, or vice versa, right? She has to put herself in our shoes. So now, let's try to understand the differences between them. So listen to this, something incredible. We mentioned before the story of the picture, right? Or that the majority of men will come and tell you, I don't care. You want to get this tablecloth, the other thing, does this look nice, the other thing. The majority of men are going to say, listen, it's not important. Whatever you decide is good by me, right? I'll let you make the decisions. It's an easy one, right? Give it to her. The truth is, listen to this. Rabbi Yosef comes in the Gemara and says, I never called my wife, I called her my house. What does that mean, I called her my house? The woman, her base, her entire life revolves around her house. And that's why she's called the Bayit, right? Even when we come and we give a bracha in the Bet Knesset, many times I call them Nevat Betcha, Nevat Bayit, the house, that is the wife, right? The woman is the house. Now what does that revolve around? Anything to do with the house. So you're talking about whether it's going to be with all the furniture, whether it's going to be everything that's around. Now what happens is that many times there becomes a problem. Where does the problem actually become? The problem arises is that when a woman comes and she's going to ask what's going on, the man comes and he says, I don't really care, whatever you want. What's the man showing? The what? He doesn't care. So what is he showing? He's not interested in her. And that's her translation. Now why? Right? What happens is as follows. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to make the woman very, very sentimental. Very rikshi. Why very sentimental? The emotions, everything around the house is with emotions. Physicality is with emotions. The men, everything is logic. So I'll give you an example. Imagine right now your husband comes and he's sitting down at the table. He wants to prepare. He's learning something. So he takes out a book and all of a sudden he says, 1 second, I've got a question. I have to go to another place. So you go to another book, you take another book. After 5 minutes, you've got 5 books on the table. Right? So what happens? You want, I have to go to Mincha. A few minutes, I'm going to come back. So she comes in and she tells you, right? The wife is going to tell you, please do me a favor. Clean up. Right? Put them away. So he comes and he says, I don't understand you. Bitul Torah. Clean up. I'm going to come back in whatever it is, 20 minutes, half an hour. Right? Many times they do this with a bed. Right? They just woke up in the morning. Right? And then he said, but I'm going to take a nap in the afternoon. Why do I have to do the bed? Right? And the woman's like, but I want the house to be clean. Why don't you? He said, but I don't understand. But in fact, what's the big deal? What's going on here? The logic tells you, doesn't make sense. I'm wasting time. I'm wasting energy. Just let me leave the books on the table. What do you care? Right? You're going to put the shoes away. You're going to wear the shoes again tomorrow. You're going to put this. That's the way the men think. But what happens? What happens is the woman, because she's so sentimental, she's actually, her life is the house. So what happens around the house? She comes and she says, I'm sorry, you're not thinking about me? Now what happens? Each one of them, they're speaking a different language. Because for him, it's not that he doesn't care, it's just that he doesn't realize that that's her life. And since he doesn't realize that that's her life, he doesn't put the importance to it. And therefore they actually come and they say, the example that we just mentioned is so important to realize what's hidden behind in order how to actually come and change it. So therefore it comes, whether it's going to be the Chazon Ish or the Stipler, all of the Freelander, Rav Wolbe, everybody, they come and they say, it's very, very important for a person to come and to give his an opinion, because that means that he's showing that he cares. Which means by nature, men don't care. That's the truth. Men don't care by nature. But we have to work upon ourselves. And the working upon ourselves means that no, I have to actually show that I do care. How do I show that I care? Right? I know that for her it's most important, right? The way that the table looks. So I'm not going to leave things on the table. I know that it's the most important for her the way that the house looks. I want to make sure that the house looks clean. I want to make sure that she's very sentimental, so everything, even how she looks herself. So I have to come and I have to praise her. Why? Don't just not pay attention. We were always taught, right, and this is actually the Chazon Ish in his letter that he says, that the woman's eyes are always dependent upon her husband to find favor in her eyes. So I was always taught that many times it could actually even mean many times in little things, little details. How do you see that? Many times, especially in Israel, here it's a little bit less, but in Israel, every few months a woman would come and she would change the bathroom. I'm not talking about completely remodeling, because then the men would really give it to her, but we're talking about, let's say there's a carpet, right, that goes right outside of the shower. There's a carpet that goes around the toilet, right? There's the toilet seat on the bottom. And then there's going to be the curtains, the shower curtains. Again, here it's a little bit less. Usually people have other things, but that's the way it was. So every few months, a woman, and it could be the towels, every single woman in her own way. Every few months, a woman will come and she'll change it. Or she'll change anything in the house. She'll just move it. Now you think to yourself, we were happy the way it was. What do we have to change it? But a woman doesn't want that. She needs change. So she's going to change. She's going to move this to there to here. What's the first thing that she's waiting for? For you to pay attention. I'm speaking to the men now, by the way. Right? So that means you have to pay attention. Why do you have to pay attention? Because that's what she's waiting for. Now, if a man comes home and he doesn't realize, what happens is he just failed. Why? It means that he's not giving her importance. For her, her importance in life was that. And that's why it's actually brought down something incredible that Rav Yisrael Salanter went and he actually said something like this. By you telling a woman that the soup that she cooked is delicious, is like you're saying to a Rosh Yeshiva that the answer on the Rambam was the best answer, was wonderful. Because the soup is the class that the wife prepares for the husband. What does that mean? By a woman, her importance is that. Her importance is going to be the food. Her importance is going to be everything that has to do with the house. So by the men coming and showing that importance, they have to realize that. So they're giving her that they're giving her that attention, that I paid attention. I'm on the ball. I know what's going on. A woman wears a new clothing. Did you pay attention it's new or not new? Right? Again, the husband should be the one that's able to know that. Why? Because if he's actually paying attention, he realizes that. So he's going to tell it to her. And he just made her day.
Pay attention and not extent.
Okay. He's saying that you could find out with the thing. She won't put it on, by the way, for the first month. So she's going to tell you that she already had it for 2 years ago. Right? So it doesn't work. Huh?
She'll remind you.
No, but that's the answer. She'll tell you, no, I didn't buy this right now. I bought this a year ago. And you're scratching your head. No, but this is the first time you're wearing it. It's very, very nice. Right? But that's the difference between the husband and the wife. Now, why is this so important also? Because you're showing her the appreciation on how it is. And again, this flower pot, this could be in anything that translates in the things which are going to be around the house. When we're talking about regesh, the feelings also, the way even to talk to her is something incredible. Listen to this chidush, something which is something out of this world, right? The Gemara in Masechet Shabbat. Gemara Masechet Shabbat comes and it says that the wife of Rabbi Yosef, she was lighting candles too late. What does that mean? It was too close to Shabbat, and she's coming and she's lighting candles too late. So now, how would a husband come and tell his wife, basically light the candles a little bit better, like a little bit earlier? How would they do that? No, the men, how would you do that? How would you try to convince your wife, no, light the candles earlier?
Change the clock.
That's actually a good one. Okay.
Prepare the candles in advance and let the person know. I
Was for the men.
I think he would just tell her.
You would just what?
I think he would just tell her.
100% he would tell her. But how's he supposed to tell her?
יש סגולה חזקה לקבל שבת לפני.
Okay. Shmuel said a very good idea. You change the clock. The problem is nowadays they have the phones. So it's not going to always work.
It's a little bit complicated. She will tell you, you're right, I need the new Rolex.
Yeah, but Mordechai came and he said, Segulot. But listen to, that's what Ariel just said the answer. I don't understand you, it's Shabbat. Karet, this, that. What's going on over here? Right? You have to come and you have to light Shabbat earlier. What is the answer? Listen to this genius. This is a Gemara. Rabbi Yosef, we're talking about a big rabbi here. He's coming and telling his wife. Now his wife is, again, we're talking about a doubt that she's being mechalel Shabbat. Look how he tells it to her. He comes and he says, listen, he says, there's an extra pasuk that it's speaking about the pillar, the Ananei Kavod. So we're talking about Amud Anan and Amud Esh. in the desert, when we were traveling, we had a pillar of fire, right, which used to illuminate our paths, and we used to have a pillar of clouds, the Ranei Kavod, which used to surround us. He comes and he says, why is it extra that it speaks about that lo yamish, that it didn't separate the Amud Arish and Amud Anan? He says, you know why? It's teaching us derech eretz, that the fire would never, that the Amud Anan would never leave before the fire already, meaning the fire had to come, and then the fire is already here, now the Amud Anan would leave. And the same vice versa. Which means nobody would ever leave it unattended. There was always going to be that you had to add on. That the adding on was that the fire came earlier in order to relieve the Amud Anan, the Ranei Kavod, he relieved it. And therefore it's teaching us derech eretz. What's a derech eretz? We want to accept the fire of Shabbat earlier in order to actually, just like Hashem did it, and He did it for us, derech eretz, we have to reciprocate, we have to do it to Hashem. What are we learning from here? Says the rabbi something incredible. He said the way that he told his wife was exactly the way that she needed to hear it. If you're going to come and you're going to be, let's say, Moroccan, you're going to give it on the head, right? That's the exact opposite. Because the Gemara already says, "Shelosha devarim tzarich adam lomer betoch beto el Shabbat im chashecha." But how does he have to say it? The Gemara says you have to say benichuta. You have to say it nicely. So for sure, if you're going to give it hard, for sure it's not going to get anywhere. Because if you think that by speaking harshly with your wife you're going to get somewhere, you forgot Parashat Yitro, Kabbalat Torah. In Kabbalat Torah it says, Ko tomar levet Yaakov v'tegeli bnei Yisrael. Ko tomar is Bet Yaakov. Bet Yaakov, the girls' school, started from that pasuk. Tomar, Amira. Amira means softly. Tegeli bnei Yisrael, for bnei Yisrael you have to go harshly. That's why for the men we give it to them hard in the head. But the women, you have to be gentle. You have to be soft. You have to be this. Now why? Because it's a difference in their essence, in who they are. So therefore, but the way that Rabbi Yosef actually came, and he gave them this, we're going to say illuminating, he actually opened up their eyes, he didn't give it in such a way. He went and he spoke to her emotions. He went and he said, Derech eretz, Hashem came and he gave to us, that he came and he gave us this light before he took away the clouds, we should also give him the light before the Shabbat actually comes in. And she went and she accepted it. But again, that's all depends on understanding what it is, the mind of the woman. And then what's going to happen is to understand, okay, fine, now that I know how it works, let me now speak to who I'm speaking to. Because if not, we're not speaking to the same person. We're crossing and it doesn't mix. So you come and you say, I don't understand, there's no communications. Well, why is there no communication? Because I'm saying A and she's understanding B. She's saying B and I'm saying A. We come two completely different things. So now what we're going to come and we're going to mention is a very, very interesting question. What is the strongest need of a man?
Food respect.
Quiet.
Quiet. Okay. She said respect. Anybody? And you said food. Anything else?
Respect.
Respect. He agrees. Okay. Respect. Huh? Everybody says respect. Very, very, huh? What? They're thinking about it. What did he say?
It depends. Tunisian food, Moroccan respect.
Listen to this. Okay? Basically like this. The man's strongest need is that his wife is happy. Now listen to this though. Listen to this. Listen to this though. Now, but how does that come? And how does that translate to our days? Huh? Listen to this. Actually, by the way, you just said something very smart. Wait 1 minute. What he just said here. 1 second. What he just said, that what happens if she's never happy? 1 minute. 1 second. Listen carefully. What happens now is as follows. First of all, right? First of all, what we have to understand is, right, when we actually come and we say, how do we know that's true? Or when we're talking about appreciation or respect, how do we know that's true? A lot of people, I would have thought, would have answered me, maybe touch, or anything that has to do with anything other than that, or further down that line. But here we're talking about respect, or appreciation. Now listen very carefully, right? What does that mean? A husband always wants to hear that his wife is happy. So all the time he wants to hear, right, that what? I'm happy, right? Now where do we actually see this? So first I'm going to bring you down the psychology, and then I'm going to prove it to you from the Rambam. Okay, and listen to this. So first we're going to go for psychology. In Hebrew, right, this is even amongst the Israeli, right, psychiatrists, they came and they say, Magvarim rotzim or tzrichim, what do they need? And they say, Gever mechapes למי לתת את מתנת הנתינה האדירה שלו, הוא רוצה לראות את בת זוגתו מסופקת, שמחה וחיננית, עם הרבה שמחת חיים, אבל חשוב לו שזה יהיה בגללו. I said it in Hebrew purposely, because there's a lot of Hebrew speakers here, and then I'll say it in English. The biggest secret of what a man really wants is that he feels useful more than being loved. One more time. A man prefers to be useful more than loved. Now he comes and he says, a man is looking for someone to give a tremendous gift, wanting to see that his partner is satisfied, right, happy and graceful with a lot of joy in life, but it's important for him when he's giving it that it's because of him. Meaning, I'm happy because of you. You made my life easier. You are doing what I need. That's what he needs to hear. Now this is amongst the Israelis. Now let's go to secular society. So you have marriage counseling of Knoxville. They come and they say men's needs in marriage are different from women's. 1 minute. Listen and you'll see it. Yeah? Men's needs in marriage differ from women's needs. We're often attuned to what women need in this society. However, though Willard Harvey, in his book of His Needs / Her Needs, states that the 5 top needs of a man in marriage, the first one is admiration. Again, the kavod of admiring. It's all the same word. She used the word kavod, and then afterwards we're going to speak about, but it's actually the exact same thing. When we actually continue, Relationship Academy, the exact same thing. He's actually saying every man is confident that he wants to receive a word of encouragement. The greatest gift a wife could give to her husband is admiration. It's another form of respect, which translates into love for a man. Meaning, as long as he's going to be feeling appreciated, he's feeling loved. That's exactly what's happening. Because he's appreciated, he feels that he's everything. That's what he feels. Now, even more than that, it's actually Psychology Today also, there's a best-selling author, Love and Respect. Women need love. Men need respect. It's as simple and as complicated as that. And again, they keep on going. I could go on for another shiur just on this. But it's a Rambam Mefurash. Why is it a Rambam Mefurash? I don't know the Rambam. I'll tell you the Rambam. The Rambam comes and he says, in Perek Tetvav of Ilchot Nisuin, we were talking about Ilchot Ishut. The Rambam comes and he says, a woman is obligated to respect her husband and to have her in his eyes like a king. Why is he saying that? What is the secret? What is the Rambam coming? And again, he's speaking about Shalom Bayit. What's exactly the Rambam trying to come and he's trying to do? The Rambam is teaching us that for the man, the most important thing is going to be respect. How do you respect the husband? By showing him that you need him. By showing him that really, be'emet, you appreciate everything that he's doing for you. Now, we're going to go into something which is going to be called a very, very big contradiction. Stira. Why is it going to be a contradiction? And this is what Steve was saying before. And I'm going to ask you a question. Right? How many times does it happen that right now you ask your husband, right, to go grocery shopping for me? So he comes back, and what does he tell you? Okay, fine. Here it is. I bought you A, B, C, D. I bought you all these things. She opens up the bags. Okay, this is for his chamin, for his fricassee, for his this, for his that. Can you repeat those words again? You bought for me? Right? What exactly, right? Or she takes out the kids. He takes out the kids. She asks him, can you take out the kids? Say, yeah. By the way, I just took out the kids for you. Okay. No, but, no, thank you. You have to take it out. Thank you. And what does she do? What thank you? They're my kids, not your kids. You also have to take them out. What are you talking about? What's going on? One of the biggest challenges for women is to say thank you. No. Listen carefully. One second. When Rav Simcha Cohen gave this shiur, Rav Simcha Cohen, by the way, he wrote 4 or 5 different sefarim on Shalom Bayit. A Bayit Yehudi, Bet Shalom, right? And another 3 or 4, right? Incredible. Tons of them. He went and he said an incredible yesod. He says, the majority of times he says that, right? And you're going to have two extremes. One woman will come and say, why do I have to thank him? Why do I have to thank my husband and all? Right? Well, he thanks me. Why do I have to thank him? That's one extreme. And the other one, she comes and he says, what are you talking about? I always say thank you. And the question though is, let's ask the husbands. Are they thanked enough? And if you're going to come and you're going to, you're putting him under the sword. I'm saying it's either. What happens? There's a big problem here. The majority of husbands will say that they are not thanked enough. Now, what does that mean exactly? The translation is that they're not actually.
לא, אני לא צריך מזה. טוב, אם כבר הפסקת, כך. אתה מסתכל, אתה עוד שנייה יש לך דמעות בעיניים, כך כפרה, כך, תשתה. עוד שנייה יש לך דמעות בעיניים, שאני שומר את הראש, אז בעיקר שתה, כך.
אחרי משמרת כפולה.
הנה, קח את כל הבקבוק, כך. הבקבוק לידי והוא עושה לי קרקום, תן לי קצת.
What does that mean? So I'll explain to you. A woman by nature, she tells her problems, she tells her husband all her problems. What does that mean? A woman comes home. Yeah, I have a headache. What does the man answer?
Take a pill.
Take a pill. Yeah? She gets upset. Why does she get upset?
She doesn't like pill.
No, not because of that. Not because of that. What? You didn't acknowledge it. What? You don't think that she's smart enough to take a pill? She knows about Advil. You don't understand. She knows that. Yeah? She needs attention. She wants a partner. She wants to come and she feels that when I come and I give you my problems, I show that you're my partner. Because I'm sharing my problems with you. Now what happens? A man by nature, what does he want to hear? He doesn't want to hear the problems. Why doesn't he want to hear the problems? Because problems equal that I'm the problem. Meaning when a woman comes and she says that I have a headache, what's it from? The husband, right? So he comes and translates, oh, what happened now? Why is she not happy? Now he doesn't realize that the more that he gives her the attention, the more she tells her more problems. So again, it's even worse. And now he's like, Ribono Shel Olam, sheket, quiet. What quiet? I'm not screaming. She tells him, but I wasn't screaming. What do you want quiet? The quiet equals means, I want peace and quiet means, I want you to be happy. And therefore here, this is one of the most fundamental problems, that you have a contradiction. A woman comes and she says, listen, I don't understand. He's never interested in what I have to say. I come and I tell him I have a problem. He's always a problem solver, right? He always comes. I come and I tell him, it's not a problem, do this. Well, I knew about that. No, why are men always trying to problem solve something that for sure the women already know, right? The women they just have the same IQ as you. Don't worry about it. They can figure it out. They don't need you to come and tell them something that they already know. So what's going on? The problem though is, by nature, a man does not want to hear, right, that there's a problem. Because by nature, he wants his wife to be happy. That's all that he wants. And now the problem though is that she's never happy. Why is she never happy? Because every single time she's just telling him another problem. So now what happens is that you get into a problem. Mitzad echad, her necessity, what she needs is to come and tell you, right, her problems. That's what she needs. Her need is to be a partner. In order for her to be a partner, she has to tell you the problems. But now your need is that she keeps her mouth quiet. Now how do you do that? Because he doesn't want to hear your problems. So now what exactly happens? So how do you resolve this then?
Take it easy, one by one.
Certain hours.
That's the bottom.
Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday.
How do we resolve the problem then? You have a contradiction. What are you supposed to do? Yeah, what are we supposed to do then? The woman comes and she doesn't want to say it. And by the way, that goes with the thank you as well. And we'll get to the thank you in 1 second. But first I want to get to this. Right? So what do? We have a contradiction. Contradiction in needs. Women by nature need to tell their problems to their husbands. And therefore, by needs, they're telling them, I have a problem. I've got a headache, I've got this, with the kids, with that, with work. It could be with anything, 1,000,001 things. And they'll always give you more problems. Don't worry about it. Right? Now, what happens though is, the man, he doesn't want to hear them. I want to hear that my wife is happy. Now, she's never telling me that. So what's going on? How do we solve this?
Or you should tell the husband what she wants.
No, the wife is telling the husband.
Well, she is. She's saying the problem.
Tell him how to respond, and then he'll learn.
So,
To be like a
She
robot.
knows what to respond. Tell her to respond to herself, and that's it. Pretend that
Like a
it's not
robot.
happening to respond.
Like, I like it when, like, if I have a headache or if I'm telling you that something's bothering me, I like it when you give me empathy.
Okay, very good.
I mean, like, I don't want you to fix it. I don't want you to fix it. Don't tell me how to fix it. Just be there for me. And then next time you'll do it.
I'm actually very, very impressed. But you're mechanech your husband, meaning that you're educating him basically. So no, but it's actually, you know what? No, I know that, but it's actually very, very. She's smart that she took the root from the problem, which means that if she was never going to explain it to him, she's going to have the problem for the rest of her life. She might as well just get it over with now. She tells him the problem, and that's it. So that's what we're here tonight for. What we're here tonight is to actually explain as follows, right? The woman was never intending to tell you the problem in order for you to solve it. By nature, the second that you agree to the problem, and that's what you mentioned about by empathy, the second that you agree it's a problem, you already basically solved it. Half of it just went away. So for example, she comes and she says it's hot. Automatically what's the husband going to say? It's not hot. What are you talking about? It's not hot.
Yes.
All of a sudden, no, it is hot. What are you supposed to say? The exact opposite. No, you know what? Even go the opposite. The opposite means, you know what? You're right. I think it's one of the hottest days in the year. Now all of a sudden she comes and she says, no. Al tagzim. No, not that much. Not that much. What happens? By you coming and agreeing to the problem, right? The tzarat rabim chetzi nechama, what we call about that. Now you're sharing the problem. You just relieved her. Right now, half the problem you just solved. You're a problem solver. But without actually going the other way around. You actually just solved half the problem. Why? You're in this together with her. You agree with her that it's correct, right? It's hot. You agree with her, right? I'm exhausted. What does he say? I'm also exhausted. Why are you also exhausted? Or why are you exhausted? You slept 10 hours. Men don't realize that women by nature have to sleep more, right? It's in their DNA. Of course. Women need to sleep more than men. No, doctor? Please tell them. It's not true. Check it out. Do a Google search right afterwards, please. Do a Google search.
You have a doctor here.
That's why I asked him. He didn't want to answer them. Yeah? Women by nature need to sleep more.
Why?
For their body. By the way, the majority of men do not realize, right, that when they get married, right, they thought that they married one woman. They married 3 women. Right?
You see the physical problems.
Yeah? What does that mean? You got married to 3 women? Very, very simple. Right? He thought it was the mother, the mother-in-law, and the wife, the mother-in-law. No. You got married to 3 different women. The first woman is a woman when she's in the regular, right, cycle of life. A second is a woman when she's pregnant. And a third, a woman when she's a nidah. 3 completely different women. Completely different. Yeah? What does that mean? She acts differently and everything is different. Now this is not only brought down in, right, psychology, you have it all the time, right? The entire concept of what? Right?
He said to his opinion there are 3 more.
Right?
Before that, when they had like 3 wives, it means they had like nine wives?
Of course, 100%. You have to understand, what you have to understand though, is that every single time it's going to be different. A woman, when she's a nidah, she's much more sentimental. She already feels that she's pushed away. And therefore, you have to actually be even closer to her, not physically, but emotionally. Right? When a woman's pregnant, it's ups and downs. The same thing even within the regular cycle. Depends that when a woman is actually going to be closer to the end of her cycle, meaning closer to her cycle, even the mood swings of even in everything, this translates in intimacy, this translates in mood swings, this translates in everything that it is, it actually depends upon her hormones. The women are affected by those hormones. Men do not have as much as the hormones as the women, and therefore even though they do have hormones, but it's not the same. So therefore when a man is coming and he's Realizing this, he has to understand the same answer, he could answer her in one period and the other period, and you're going to get a completely different response.
I think, Rabbi, that's a different class for only men to have the course, no?
No, never. I think it's class for today. It's he, she, he. It's three different. How do you address it? Today she's a she with it is. Today she's a it's okay.
100%. You're right, but that's what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do though is we're trying to understand what is a man and what is a woman. And therefore, once we actually understand that, we become compatible. Right? Why? Because if not, then they're not compatible. What do you want? Meaning like this. Right? And this is actually where we have to actually just understand. When we come, and this is, I'm actually going to go down and I'm going to continue because obviously it's getting late, but there's also now what is a female needs, which that Blineda will probably do the next year. But before then, we'll just go to this, right? Yeah, you have time. Oh, okay, fine. If you guys want to continue, I have no problem. I could stay here. I could do Mishmar if you want. Yeah?
Nobody walk tomorrow.
Nobody works tomorrow. That's it. Okay. Basically like this. We have to understand that when we're talking about the entire concept of what exactly is a man and what exactly is a woman, we have to understand that that's the best secret to Shalom Bayit. Why? Once you come and you understand who you're talking to, now you know what you're dealing with, so now it's very easy to communicate because you know what the communication is. So now let's go back to what we said about with the thank you, and this is what we're going to explain. What happens is as follows, right? We just mentioned before that by you admitting, right, and recognizing that for the woman it was difficult, what happens is you became a partner with her, and that's why she needed it, and therefore she's going to even tell you more problems. But you actually alleviated her, and you made her feel even now that it's less of a problem. Why? My husband's with me on it. I've got somebody else he's got my back. He's going to help me out with it. What happens though is that when we're talking about thank you, it's the exact opposite, which I'll explain. The man needed recognition, we said. He needs to feel, I just made your life better. I just made your day. I am your king. I am this, I am that. That's what he needs to feel. That's his respect. That's what a man needs. And if the woman fails to deliver, so therefore that's when all the divorces usually happen, because he doesn't feel that he's important anymore. So what happens now is that he's waiting for a thank you. Now why? Because if you remember, we already mentioned last class, a man always feels that he's a volunteer. Women always feel that they're obligated towards the marriage. And now with this, we actually just answered everything up. Which means like this. A woman, whether she feels good or doesn't feel good, she's still going to make the food. Whether she's upset at you, she's still going to do her chores in the house. If the man is upset because he just got into an argument with his woman, he detaches himself from his obligations of the house. Now he's not helping anymore. Why? He's upset. So he detaches himself. Why? Because again, he feels he's a volunteer. If I'm not happy, I'm not going to volunteer. For her, she's obligated, so therefore she has to do it. So now what happens is as follows. The man is waiting for a thank you. Bechavana, she doesn't want to give a thank you. Because if she's telling him thank you, she's showing him that you just did above and beyond what you really need. Because if you're obligated to do it, I really need, okay, so you still out of manners. Yeah, thank you. You know, by the way, but it's not a real, I appreciate it so much, thank you so much. You don't do a big deal. If you go to a cash register, yeah, you tell them thank you, they give you change, fine. You're not going to say, thank you so much, you did you did your job, that's it. You did exactly what you were obligated to do. The second that you come and you start thanking them even more, she doesn't want to do that. Because that means she's admitting that really Be'emet, he's a volunteer. And she feels, you're not a volunteer. If I'm not a volunteer, you're not a volunteer. You're obligated. Where are your duties to the house? So therefore, what we have to actually come back, we have to actually answer the stira that we said, the contradiction. Now that we know how women work and how men work, you have to give each one their needs. Which means like this. For a man, she actually doesn't realize that if she's going to say thank you properly, he's going to do it again, and he's going to even help you at more. The more that you appreciate him, and the more that you're actually going to give him more of a thank you, even though you don't want to give him that thank you, he's going to help you even more. Because he just feels, I'm a king, so I'm going to do it now again. And you continue doing it, and continue doing it. So even though it's against their nature that they don't want to say thank you, they should say thank you, and they have to say it. And you even make the abu out of it. You make the big thing out of it. Look, thank you so much, you're this, you're that, you're my hero, whatever you want, you could tell him. But what? The concept is that you just made him now, that you gave him that respect that he needed. Now he's going to do everything. What happens though with the woman now, right, is as follows. Should she tell us all the hardships? So obviously the answer is going to be yes. But how? So therefore what happens is that, for example, when a husband comes home, the first thing that a woman should not do is that when he opens up the door, she's already with the complaints. Right? Or with the face of Tisha B'Av, that look what happened now, that this, that, no. The first thing is, she comes and she receives him, b'simcha. Why? Because now he doesn't translate, right, that it's because of him, all the bad things. It doesn't translate to him. Why? She's happy. Look how she received me. Like a king, perfect. After he's already in the home, after 5 minutes, now you can give him on the head. Now you tell him, by the way, this problem and the other problem and the other problem. Now the man is obligated to listen to it because that's her necessities. But the man has to recognize that by accepting it, now all of a sudden he's actually leaving her, and that's what she needs, her attention. Because when we're going to speak about what are the women's needs, that's what's actually going to happen. So therefore, if we're just going to come and we're just going to, sum it all up, by the way, this is actually brought down in the Midrash Kohelet, where he says a wife does not admit to favors from her husband. So Midrash Kohelet Rabbah, chapter Perek Vav, right, Ot Zayin. So therefore you actually see it, which is actually brought down in the Torah, such a concept, which means that she's not going to always come and say thank you to her husband. But she doesn't realize that's the best gift that she could actually give him in order to continue. So if we're just going to make a very, very quick summary, I know it's very, very late, and Blina, the next time we'll continue, Bezrat Hashem, but just to sum it up, as we already mentioned, the entire purpose of this shiurim of Shalom Bayit is learn how the machine works. Once you know how the machine works, you know what's the gas, what's the brake, right? You know where's the red lines, you know exactly what's going on or what people need. So therefore you know, if the engine is asking for oil, you have to give them oil. Doesn't matter if you're going to come and you're going to put gas, it's not going to help, right? You need to know how does a machine work. So how does it work? So we already mentioned, necessities are required in order to connect. And therefore it's not feeling of it's not something of a negative. It's not that you're actually it's something good. We need certain things. So now the husband needs certain things from the wife, and the wife needs certain things from the men. And therefore what happens is that each one has to reciprocate. By you understanding how does it work, you're going to give them what they need. So therefore again, a woman, right, she needs a partner. So part of the partner is showing that you care. Showing you care means what do they wear? What is the way that they look, the house, everything that's going. Pay attention to her. And therefore, what does the man need? The man needs recognition. He needs appreciation. He wants her to be happy in life. That was the purpose of when he comes and he hears it, he says, no, she's not happy. But why not? She is happy. But again, either you could actually tell him that, right, which is actually a good idea, right? Or if not, you come to a Shalom Bayit class and then the men learn it on their own, right, with the rabbi. But either or, the concept is that once the man knows that, now all of a sudden he knows that the next time the wife is going to ask him for an Advil, he's not just going to say just pop a pill because it's not what she's looking for. She knows that, right? What she needs to hear is, you're right. You probably must be exhausted. Can I help you with anything? And all of a sudden, you know what? No, it's not that bad. You know what? I could still manage. Right? All of a sudden she changes, and it's a 180, and you're thinking, what happened? All you did was you recognized that it was actually hard for her, and all of a sudden now it changes, right, the entire thing.